Hello, my name is Robert Manlove, and I did my informative speech on marijuana, the pros and cons, the good versus the bad, as far as is marijuana something that we should be partaking in, especially here in Colorado, as it is a legal substance. Anyone over the age of 21 can partake in marijuana just like alcohol. And marijuana in Colorado ranges from the normal smoking and rolling to edibles to vapor. So we have a lot of forms of marijuana here in Colorado. So my informative speech was again the pros versus the cons of marijuana. One of the things that I want to talk about is we'll start with the pros. One of the pros obviously is it gets you high. It relaxes you, and now the marijuana is more potent than ever here in Colorado. Research shows that the marijuana can be upwards of 3, 4, 500% of THC in every package that it comes in. So, I mean, it definitely can elevate you to a high that is beyond measure. Another thing is they use marijuana, as we know, for some types of illness. We talked about in my informative speech one of the things that is one of the illnesses, anything that has to do with the brain. So the brain is definitely something that is affected by the marijuana and its pros. It gives people it slows down the process of Alzheimer's, which is something that is a terrible disease. So we definitely see some pros where marijuana. So now let's talk about the cons. Some of the cons we know, especially dealing with marijuana, studies have showed through workplace, the Institute of Drug-Free Workplace, have shown that people lose their jobs because of partaking in marijuana, and that was a study shown again on the Drug-Free Workplace Institute. And they list various reasons why we should have a drug-free workplace. Safety reasons, people that work in construction or driving, CDL drivers, train drivers, or airplane pilots. We definitely want to see those folks drug-free. I would not want to get in an airplane where my pilot is under the influence of marijuana. I would not want to get into a bus where my bus operator is under the influence of marijuana. I would not want to be in a classroom setting where my teacher is under the influence of marijuana, an educator. So we definitely see areas where that could be a negative in the workplace alone. Let's take it to our youth and young adults. Studies have shown that the brain is still developing up to the age of 21. And so we have a lot of statistics on Teen Inc., where we see a lot of teens and preteens partaking in marijuana. Studies have shown on that teen and preteen is the name of the website, shows that marijuana among teenagers is growing here in Colorado. We're looking at the growth percentage to be in the upwards of 20, 30, 40% since marijuana came into play, and that was back in 2012 when we started doing it for medical purposes. And so kids obviously under the age of 21 can't go to the shops and buy it. However, what they can do is if they get into their parents' stash or if they have a friend who has a stash, and that's one of the ways that they're able to obtain it, and that's something that we're seeing in the schools. And so while that young child's brain is developing, it is having difficulty because he or she is under the influence of marijuana. Marijuana definitely makes you relax, as I said earlier in my presentation. However, it slows also your reaction. So people tend to put themselves maybe in harm's way under the influence of marijuana. Teens that are driving, maybe they're more likely to make slower decisions behind the wheel of a vehicle going down the highway because their mind and their body is so relaxed. Perhaps these are just studies that have said that their reaction time slows down and they're more likely to get into an accident under the influence of marijuana. I know that we have a lot of accidents as it pertains to alcohol. alcohol has been around since the Prohibition years. And now we're having a prohibition as it pertains to marijuana. We're seeing a lot of states come on board. Within the states, there's cities coming on board with marijuana use to making it legalization, because we know it's a cash cow. It's not so much that the state or whoever is deciding to legalize this cares so much about the individual relaxing, but we know it's a cash cow. We see the states bringing in hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars potentially a year, maybe even $1 billion by the time this thing settles down. So it's a cash cow for sure, and it's legal, so it's okay, supposedly. So we really need to talk about educating our youth, educating our young adults and adults. If an adult is going to partake in marijuana, just like an adult could partake in alcohol or anything else, we need to be responsible about it. We need to make sure that we're making responsible decisions and not setting our youth up to fail, not setting our youth up to get into our stash, and not making it, exploiting it, making it seem like it's a good thing, attracting our youth to partake in something that our adults are partaking in. We see that we make adult decisions, but we're still youth. We have adult consequences. So these are just some of the things. Again, my websites are Drug Free Workplace Institute, and also teeninc.com talks about it. And then 1 Corinthians 6:19, it says, "Do you know your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who was in you when you received from God? You are not your own." So these bodies don't belong to us. They belong to Him, according to 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 19. And I got that from BibleGateway.com, which is my third reference. So this is my video. Let me know what you think. Thanks for your time.